Hello there, how you going? Hope you're having a fantastic evening. Welcome to this Facebook Live. My name is Helen Harrison, and tonight my question to you is, do you want to learn how to put yourself first and fill your own cup up? And for a lot of us it can be quite difficult because we can feel guilty, and often we're so used to putting others before ourselves. Or maybe you feel like there just isn't enough time, and that when you do get time and you do have time to actually stop, you find it really hard to put yourself first. Having worked with thousands of people over the 15 years that I've been in business as a therapist and now a coach, I have learned what works and what doesn't work. And I've discovered 3 common struggles that people often make with these little known sabotages and these patterns. And if these sabotages aren't actually exposed or eradicated, and I know that sounds really extreme, however, sabotages can rule our life. They can deeply affect the relationship that we have with ourselves and with others. And it impacts on our wants, our needs, our desires, our positions, our boundaries with ourselves and with others. Once you're actually feeling resentful, unfulfilled, exhausted, it can be really difficult to actually bounce out of that and to actually be able to unhook from it. I call it unhooking from the trance of unworthiness. So you are in the right place, because in this video you're going to discover how to recognize your sabotages and your unhealthy patterns. You are going to also hear about some practical tools and techniques so that you can begin to really honor yourself and give yourself what you need. And lastly, how to enhance and balance your own needs while also being considerate of the people in your world. So instead of wondering why you are so exhausted, or wondering why you're feeling unfulfilled and this resentment that you feel, I am going to show you a clear pathway forward. And this means you'll show up confidently, relaxed, fully present, designing a life that you love, expanding into abundance, success, and love. So, who doesn't want this? So if you're watching this live, love you to put in the comments, I'm watching this live. If this is a replay, hashtag replay, but comment all the way through this. Would love to hear what you're thinking and what you're feeling. I will get to your comments at the end, because I really want to focus on what I want to share. So, recognizing your sabotages and your unhealthy patterns. So how do you identify this? Hello Jazz, how are you? Nice to have you here. So how do you recognize your sabotages and your unhealthy patterns? So the first place I want to begin is childhood. I'm not going to open all of that up, but these patterns are cemented and enhanced and born in childhood. The first 7 years of a child's life is where our patterns are formed. And so what I mean by patterns, look, some patterns can be, I'm not allowed to honour my needs first, or I'm not good enough, or I'm damaged, or I'm unlovable. What a pattern is, let's take it back a step. A belief, what a belief is a practiced thought that is grounded in a lived experience. So over and over again, it's built up over years, and it's patterns that create a neuro pathway, and it requires inner or interior and exterior validation to thrive. Those beliefs I just talked about are beliefs that were so strong in me. You know, I'm not allowed to honour my needs first. It was always about putting everybody else before myself and sacrificing my own needs. And I see it a lot, and I see it a lot in women. The I'm not good enough pattern or belief or sabotage is the most common one. And I used to call it come in the back door. It's like when I say come in the back door, I think, well, why am I a bit off balance? What's going on for me? Oh, that not good enough. It's here again. So it's recognizing, this is the first thing, and this is what I'm talking about tonight. This is my number one, is recognizing when you are actually living it. It's noticing it. And that's often the most hardest. However, if you can slow down and recognize, oh, I'm behaving from a belief, from a pattern, that's the first place to begin, is to begin noticing it. Okay, so recognize it. If this is speaking to you, pop something in the comments. You may be working on a belief at the moment, or you may recognize that you have one. And so I'd love to hear from you, and perhaps put it in the comments. So, practical tools and techniques to honor your needs first. So what does that mean? I always come back to emotional, spiritual, mental, and physical. And what can be really helpful is to perhaps list things in these 4 different categories: emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical. And how can I begin doing this? Look, I used to find it very, very difficult to do any type of self-care or honour myself first, because I was programmed to put others before myself, and I would feel guilty. I've had to work at this. I've had to really try hard at this. So, emotional. What are some emotional things? Emotional could be you write in your diary, or you connect emotionally to yourself. What is the feeling? What is the emotion? It's being curious. What is the emotion? Creating time to do that. What is the emotion I'm feeling? Emotional, connecting with friends. That can be emotional. There's Google emotional, and in previous I was going to say podcast, because I do a podcast, previous lives I have talked about this, and I'll continue to talk about it around the emotional. Mental, what you do for the mental is noticing the thinking mind, but what can you do, that a practical tool or technique to connect with the mental? So the mental is noticing your thoughts, being curious, learning how to unhook from that. The spiritual, what's an example of spiritual? Spiritual could be being in nature, could be doing a meditation. And what's physical? Physical is, of course, going for a walk, going to the gym, noticing your body, stretching. But these are practical tools and techniques to honour your needs first. All right, so moving along. The change belief tool. I want to talk about this because this is a practical tool and technique that is going to help you honour your needs first. So, the change belief tool that I'm going to talk about now, you can actually get a copy of this. So just put in the comments that you'd like this, the resource that goes with this training. You could just write in there change belief tool, and I will flick that through to you. So the change belief tool, there are 7 steps in this change belief tool, which is a really helpful tool to help you honour your needs first. So the questions, of course, I ask a lot of questions. So, is this belief true? So I'm going to use an example of I cannot honour my needs first. So it's asking yourself, is this belief true? I cannot honour my needs first. And you may go, well, yes it is. I cannot honour my needs first. So that's number 1. Number 2, are you sure that it's true? I cannot honour my needs first. Oh, yeah, most of the time. I cannot honour my needs first. Every now and then I can, but most of the time I cannot. Okay, number 3. What does living this belief do to you? So if I cannot honour my needs first, crabby, resentful, tired, exhausted, empty, I feel like I'm not living to my potential, I'm not important, I can project. Getting the idea? This is, if I'm living this belief, which I used to live many years ago, I don't live it anymore. I cannot honour my needs first because I can honour my needs first. So what does this living this belief do to you? It really de-energizes you. It disempowers you. It makes you feel not motivated. Your vibration comes down. Okay. So what will the cost be to you in 5 years' time if this is not changed now? Can you imagine living this way? If you're still living this way with this belief inside of you, well, your resentment's going to be even stronger. Your exhaustion's going to be even worse. And I imagine it probably could even trickle through into getting some health problems, some health issues, if you're not honouring your needs first. Who would you become and how would you be without this old belief? So just imagine, this is the number 6, imagine not having this belief that I cannot honour my needs first. So let's flip it. I can honour my needs first. Who would you become? How would you be if you had this belief? You're going to feel very different. I can honour my needs first. I feel strong. I feel empowered. I feel confident. I feel excited. I feel motivated. You're not going to get bogged down with guilt, anger, resentment. It's going to feel good. It's going to feel good in the body. The vibration is going to feel good. So just put in the comments, are you with me? Is this speaking to you? So let's go to the last one. Who would you become and how would you be without this old belief? Sorry, I've just repeated myself. Number 7, the intent moving forward in designing your best life. So it's living with I can honour my needs first. You live and breathe this new belief. And so with this, writing it, putting it on little stick-it notes, write it on your mirror, put it in your phone, write it in your journal, have it everywhere. I can honour my needs first. They do say to live and breathe it for 30 days. You can do some deeper work with me, psychotherapy, and you're going to flip the belief straight away. However, you can do it on the slower version and it works just as well. I can honour my needs first. What you're doing constantly for the next 30 days, you keep this belief close, you are creating a new neuro pathway moving forward to open up a new belief. So like I said earlier, direct message me for this belief, this change belief tool. You'll love it. It's going to make a huge difference. So the last area that I want to talk into is how to enhance and balance your own needs while also being considerate of others. I get it. There could be a number of you, many of you, that still have young children. I'm in a different phase in my life. I have 3 adult sons, so I'm not as required, which is lovely. I've paid my penance. It sounds terrible, doesn't it? But if I had learned to honour my needs first when my boys were a bit younger, I wouldn't have suffered with adrenal fatigue, burnout and funny health symptoms. I wouldn't have suffered with anxiety, with stress, because it would have been okay for me to honour my needs first. But because I had this belief that it wasn't okay for me to honour my needs first, I burnt myself out. So live, live, put on the comments. I'd love to hear, I'd really love to hear your comments. And for those of you who are watching the replay, #replay. Okay. So how do you enhance and balance your own needs while also being considerate? Well, this comes down to setting boundaries and communicating your needs clearly with the people who are in your life. And this, of course, takes time. It takes practice. And being able to say no or to ask for what you need, even if it may disappoint somebody else or can inconvenience somebody else, is a whole new different way of living. And it is okay to say no. And often, particularly as mothers, you may have guilt, you may do long hours at work, so you're at home, and then you cannot say no. But this is how to enhance balance. It's a skill, it's a mindset shift, and it is looking at your belief system like I was talking about earlier. It's also really important to know that it is not selfish to prioritise your own needs. Hello, Michelle. It's almost like you have to train yourself and your family. Absolutely. I agree. You have to train yourself. It's not something that comes easily. It really isn't. And I know just due to my own lived experiences, I could never put myself first. So yeah, I can really relate to what you're saying, Michelle. But it is a practice, and in time it does get easier. So remembering, it's so important. You are not being selfish when you prioritise. And I think it's also getting used to the feelings that you feel in the body. That feeling of guilt that will come in. And so it's being able to name it. Okay, I'm experiencing guilt. But it's not shaming it. It's, if you've done any sort of work with me, or if you've heard me in different mediums around the place, I talk about that we are going to have a mountain of different emotions that are going to come in. However, it's being able to look at our languaging. And what I have found very helpful is when I am feeling guilt or when I am feeling shame, I don't squash it down. I don't shame myself for feeling shame. I actually put words to it that I am actually experiencing shame, and it is okay, and to actually feel it and feel it in my body, and that has been really, really helpful. So coming back to the care of yourself, it's you know when you're on a plane and they say with the little ones that you put your mask on before you put it on your little one. Well, it is very true. It's being able to prioritise yourself. If you can fill your own cup up first, you are much more likely to be a much happier partner and also a much happier parent, or in your work world, or whatever your world is. You aren't running on empty, and you're not doing it from a place of sabotage or beliefs that are coming through. So what I have found most helpful with this, because this is something that I have really had to work on, and of course I see it a lot with the women that I work with, is just start small. It's learning how to put yourself first and fill your own cup up, but just do little steps. It's being able to leave the guilt behind and putting yourself first. So if you did anything, perhaps managing your time in a little pocket of time, being able to slow down, that can be hugely helpful. So this means that by doing all of what I've talked about, you're going to be able to show up more confidently. You're going to feel more relaxed. You are going to be present in the present moment. And, the whole idea is to actually create and design a life that you absolutely love, not a life that is alive due to your sabotages or your limiting beliefs. And working with those neuro pathways, all you're doing is putting out fires. You're like a rat on a actually it's a rabbit on a rabbit wheel. It's about really questioning what you're doing, because it's being able to live in a life where you are living from expansion. So you're expanding, and there's success and there's love. But you can only begin to do that when you know that it is okay to put yourself first and to fill your own cup up. And that in time, you will move through the guilt. You will begin to notice the guilt. But the more that you do this, the easier it will get. Anyway, I'm out of time. I'd love to hear any comments, so pop them in the comments. If you would like a copy of the Change Belief tool, just pop it in the comments and I'll get it to you. And on that note, you know what? The power of change is within you. See ya!